Hey everybody, this is Vicki Ronchette with Show Dog Prep School. Welcome to our first shelter-in-place puppy class. I have some friends who have puppies, and people all over the country have puppies and are concerned and trying to figure out how to work through puppy raising and stuff like that. So I wanted to do some free classes on Show Dog Prep School. I'm going to be doing some discussion, and then we'll be doing a little bit of training. So that'll be the layout and the sort of format for the class. Some talking, some discussion. You're welcome to ask questions here, and then I will do a demo with the behaviors, the actual behaviors we're going to work on training. So the first thing I want to talk about is socialization. And I want you to know that me and Andrea Stone will be doing a free talk here on Show Dog Prep School's page Friday morning at 10 a.m. on socializing and puppy raising during this time. But I'm going to hit a little bit of it right now as we talk about this. So I taught puppy classes for years, probably 12 years maybe or more, before my business went all conformation. So I used to do beginning obedience, rally, nose work, puppy classes, everything. So now I just do conformation, but I did do a lot of puppy classes, and I do raise a lot of puppies on my own. So I want to talk about this and how things have changed. So like I said, I taught puppy classes for a long time, but with my last few personal puppies, and can I just give a shout out to, I'm wearing my Red Mountain Canine shirt from Judith Porter, who's one of my mentee members. So shout out to her and any of my mentee people who want me to give them a little shout out. I can. Anyways, I was excited I'm wearing that. Anyways, so for years I taught classes, but the last few puppies that I've raised my own, whether they're going to be a sport dog or a conformation dog, show dog, or just a companion or anything, I've changed how I've done it dramatically and I also changed how I ran my puppy classes, because over the years I started to feel differently than I did. We evolve and change as we're learning and seeing how things work out. My puppy classes, when I stopped doing them, looked like this. The puppies would come in, they would start out with a little bit of training. So maybe we just work on their name recognition, sit, some easy things. Then we would have a discussion about a specific puppy raising issue that day or that week, and then we would do some off-leash play. They would be called out of the off-leash play, and then we would go through the process again, some training, some discussion, play. But I wanted to get them in thinking and working mode before we just let them loose to play. But to be honest with you, for the last few years, I have not done puppy classes with my puppies. And I'll tell you why. I want my dogs to be good with other dogs. I want them to be good with other people. I want them to be comfortable with those things in the environment. But what I don't want is for them to become obsessed with other dogs. I don't want them to think that they get to go up to see every dog they meet. I don't want them to think they should go up to every stranger. I want the good things to come from me so that those distractions don't become harder for them and make them less likely to focus on me. And I'll tell you that this is something that it's very beneficial to train early. If you want your dog to really be into you and about you in terms of focus, then early on you need to get them used to that. I don't want my dogs thinking that, they should want to go see every dog and every person and play with them. It's not what I'm looking for. It makes it real hard when you're trying to do dog sports and you've created a dog that's so obsessed with other people and other dogs that they literally can't function in the environment with those distractions around. So I stopped doing puppy classes. It didn't mean I didn't socialize dogs. It just meant that I'm not going to go to a class where there are just a bunch of puppies set free to play. And honestly, I know from experience, that's what the owners want. Most pet dog owners, they want to see their dogs play with other dogs. But that doesn't always teach healthy socialization. If you're also not working on how to be around other dogs and not be, playing or going crazy, hello Lola, then, it's not going to it's not going to help you in the long run. I need them to learn those other skills. I need them to learn, that dogs and people can be in the environment, but I don't want them to flock to them. And what I saw a lot through my puppy classes was that people would have these puppies that were taken to puppy classes. They were allowed to just go crazy and play with puppies. And then when they turned 6 or 7 months old and they got bigger and they started, developing more adult dog and adolescent behaviors and mentality, is that they would get frustrated that they couldn't go up to other dogs. So then now these dogs have been going to classes, they would get set free, they would play crazy with puppies, and now they're frustrated when they see a dog on the street and they can't go up to that dog. So it's very important that we teach them the skill of not paying attention to other dogs in the environment. It doesn't mean we don't want them to play, but that is not a thing in my dog's life that's important, is them being able to go play with random dogs. I don't even allow it. I mean, my dogs don't do that. We don't go to dog parks and just run off. I mean, we have a few, like we have Point Isabel. It's a huge dog park where there's a lot of space and a lot of walking, and something like that is different. It's not that they can't be around other dogs. It's that I am not taking them to an enclosed area to just go crazy with strange dogs. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't trust other people. I know I've worked with a lot of clients over the years who would say, they didn't want to stop taking their dog to the dog park, even though he would attack dogs once in a while. Well, most of the time he's okay. Well, what about the dogs he's doing that to when he's not okay? So I feel pretty strongly that that's just not for me. I go to schoolyards, I play with my dogs other ways, but dog parks are not one. So socialization, for me, would be hard right now because of sort of what's going on in the world. But my socialization is not about getting the dog out with a million people. It's about getting the dog out in the world, that they need to see the world. This, I believe, you can still very, very, very adequately do even when we're in shelter in place. They don't need to go play with other dogs. They don't need to go roll around with other people. I don't actually want my dogs to be closer than 6 feet to strangers on the street. I want them to learn to ignore those outside challenges and distractions that are going on in the world. So I think that this is not going to be a bad thing for us at all in terms of socializing our puppies. So you can still do things like take your dog for a walk. And if you see people, that's great. What I do is just when they notice the other person, give them a cookie or say their name and give them a treat. So they're learning, look at the stranger and then look back to mom or dad and get a cookie for that. So I want them to just be like, oh yeah, there's something in the environment. But my focus and my connection and my relationship and my partnership is with my owner. So do that. Take them out. You can take them places. They're just not going to be going up to a bunch of other people and other dogs, and that is not a bad thing. I promise you that's not a bad thing. Because do you want them meeting some people? Of course you do. Is it suck that, right now you can't have people over and you can't do any socializing? Yeah, a little bit, but I very strongly believe as long as you're getting them out in the world and they're seeing people, you're going to be good. You can build a very strong positive association by just having the dog notice other dogs and get rewarded for that, or notice other people and get rewarded for that, notice other dogs and get rewarded for that. So the idea is that, here's the dog's head. I look at that person, and then you say the dog's name, Cannoli, and the dog looks at you and gets a cookie. What you'll start building is look at another dog and look at my mom. Look at another dog and look at my mom. You can start building that as the behavior you want. So you can actually build focus to you. So, do that. Take them out. Work on just being out in the world. Let them sniff. Let them check things out. I know that there are people who are very worried about disease and vaccination protocols. And I am not going to suggest that anybody do anything they're not comfortable with. But I will tell you, for me personally, this is for me, Vicki, personally, I am more concerned with the risk of a dog not being behaviorally healthy and stable and well socialized and well adjusted more than I'm concerned about a dog getting a disease. I don't want him to get a disease, and I'd be safe. I don't take him to random pet stores and put him down all over the floor or walk him where I think there's a lot of dogs or poop, but On the street, yeah, you bet. Out, you bet. I mean, my dogs are out. I would take puppies to field trials, dachshund puppies, litters, because that is important to me, that they're exposed to that. More important to me than my concern of them getting sick, which is horrible if they get sick. But it's also horrible if they don't get to go anywhere until they're 5 months old because people are worried about getting all their shots first. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about, and this is coming up a lot on dog trainer, discussions and stuff, is that it's really important right now, probably more than the socializing part, that you figure out a way to have that puppy be alone. Because it's very important that not only does a puppy not get left alone for too long of periods of time, like I don't recommend a new puppy, being left alone for 8 or 10 or 12 hours. I mean, I think a break is necessary in that alone time, but you also don't want them to never be alone. And that's going to be the concern for us right now raising puppies during this shelter in place, is that they're not going to learn to be alone. So that's one of the most important things you guys need to be practicing now. If it's you put the dog in another room in a crate and you give it a chew toy or a chew stick, or you just put on calming music and the dog is in there to relax and rest, do that. But please don't get them to where they are with you 24/7. That goes for you if you have a new bird too. Because these animals need to learn the value of being alone, and they need to be able to self-entertain, because there's going to be a time when you're going to go back to work and the kids are going to go back to school, and it's not going to be a big packed, busy house all the time anymore. And we just want them to be prepared for that. So please, alone time, crate time, make sure that they're getting some time where they're not with you so that they can cope with that. The next thing I wanted to talk about is play biting or mouthing. So when I first started dog training, that was in the mid-'80s, and there was a lot of things that they told you to do. Stick your finger down the dog's throat, grab, the dog and wrap its gums around its teeth and squeeze it, hold its muzzle shut. I don't do any of those things. I will tell you what I do for that. It used to be said, just scream, just squeal, ouch, and the puppy will let go. But what I found was that unless it was a very sensitive puppy, it just ramped them up more. It did not calm them down. It might calm them down if you have, a Maltese puppy who's 8 weeks old. But if you've got, a golden or a bull terrier, or, there's a million dogs that just think that's funny if you yell and squeal, and they just get more ramped up. So that is not a technique that I found particularly helpful. What I do for play biting is this. This is my protocol. I'm holding the puppy. The puppy bites my hand. I say, easy, or whatever cue you want to use. Be careful, stop, enough, easy. Remove my hand for about 10 seconds, then go back to petting the dog. If at that point the puppy does it again, I'm just going to time him out. So I'm going to say too bad and put him on the floor, or too bad and leave the room, or too bad and put him in a crate. And then that timeout is only going to last for about 1 minute, because I want to immediately give them the opportunity to make the right choice. So if they make the wrong choice, what is it they want when they're play biting with us? Most of the time, they're playing and interacting, and they get excited and they want us. So the most effective consequence for biting me is losing access to me. You bite me, you don't touch me. That's it. You bite me, I leave the room. You do that a few times, and I've had puppies that couldn't stop biting. I mean, they were just intense, biting constantly. We did 5 or 6 timeouts, it went away. And I know some people are like, they don't want to use, any sort of punishment. This is called negative punishment, because we're taking away something the dog wants in order to make a behavior go away. So the behavior of biting goes away because they lose access to us. But it works very well. Your timing needs to be good. And I like to use what I call a warning cue, or a marker, a punish marker. So I would say to the dog, too bad, my dog's thing is too bad for you. And that means that you're going to get put away for a minute. But the important thing is you want to give them an opportunity to do it you know, almost immediately after, within like a minute after, so that you can get right into the practice of reinforcing the correct behavior. Hi there. The other thing I want to talk about with play biting and mouthing is that my puppies are all set up with a pacifier. So when I'm teaching them to just relax with me and hang out and watch TV, I hold a chew stick in my hand like this, and the puppy just gets to chew it, because they're teething and their mouth hurts and their gums are sore. So they need something to be gnawing on. And if you don't have something in their mouth, it's just going to be your hand. So use a pacifier when they're learning that. It's really great, because then they learn how to just sit on your lap and watch TV calmly when, you know, when otherwise they might be trying to just chew on your fingers or chew on your clothes or not being able to settle down. So we want them to have something to chew on and work on. I didn't have this in my notes, but I also wanted to talk about having an area set up for your puppy. So where my puppies are raised, basically they're in a crate in my bedroom at night. And then during the day, they're usually in a pen. So I'm going to flip this camera around real quick so you guys can just see that area right by the table. I put a plastic pen up there. So then that plastic pen becomes the puppies' where they hang out when I can't supervise them, where they eat, where they have their chew sticks, where they have their belongings that the adult dogs can't have. That's their little area where they hang out. Money Penny, come here, please. Thank you. So I like to have them set up like that. The other thing I want to talk about, whoop, she bumped into that. It works really great for potty training, because if you're potty training a new puppy, I like to teach them, again, they sleep in the bedroom at night in a crate. They are pottied before bed. If they're having a hard time and needing to get up in the middle of the night, I'll take away the water 2 hours before bed, feed them well early enough for them to be able to go potty and get that out of their system before bed. And then I just start, you know, if they wake me up in the middle of the night, I'm going to get up and I'm going to try and take them out. But if they get in the habit of just wanting to go out and not go potty, then obviously I'm going to not take them out all the time. But even still, once they start getting, like, I think they're being able to hold it, they're getting a little older, then what I'll do is if they fuss in the night, I'll just kind of, shh, it's okay, shh, go to sleep. And a lot of times they go back to sleep. But if they persist and say, no, I really need to go potty, then I'm going to take them out. Finally, before we do a little bit of training, I just want to tell you guys that it is important now that you do your boundary setting. So what a lot of people do, and I mean, I can tell you crazy stories over the years of going to people's homes and what they had taught the puppy was going to be okay. Like, I had one family that lived in this big mansion, and I went to their house and they were training their puppy actually to go potty in the shower, because it was a mansion and they didn't want to walk all the way down and get the puppy to a yard. So they would do that. And they said, well, is that okay? And my answer is, if that's okay with you, that's where the dog goes. But if you don't want that to happen as an adult, we need to address that now. So if you're not going to let your dog sleep in the bed, if you're not going to let the dog on the couch, if you're not going to let the dog jump all over people, please start putting these boundaries in place now. You don't have to be rough. You don't have to knee them in the chest or yank them off the couch or be rough. You just let them know this is where you're allowed to be. This is where you're not allowed to be. All right. So we're going to get started with some training. So I'm going to flip the camera. I'm going to show you guys if I can find where I put, oh, there's a clicker. I like to use a marker for training. So either a clicker or a verbal marker. The marker tells the animal the moment you heard this sound, the click or the yes or the good, it means food is coming. So you click it at the exact moment the animal did the right behavior. And that click is a bridge in between getting the reward. Because something like we're going to work on now, it's not hard to do it without the clicker. If you have the animal sitting in front of you, you can give them a treat. You don't need to mark it. It's a good idea to mark it, but you don't have to, because you can deliver the treat at the appropriate time and in the appropriate location. But if you're doing this, you know, like distance work, or you just need to make something really clear, or you're doing a specific body part, like if I'm teaching an animal to lift its tail or lift its ears or cock its head, I'm going to use a clicker for those things. All right, So the first thing we're going to work on is name recognition. I'm going to flip this. You're welcome to grab your puppies if you want to. So name recognition is just teaching the dog that when I say your name, you need to turn and face me. You need to look at me. Money. So here's how you're going to do this. I did do some work with this with her already. I'm going to take a few treats and I'm just going to, without the clicker, say, Money Penny, 5 treats, and then her name. Money Penny, well, her name and then the treat 5 times. Money Penny, Money Penny, Money Penny. Okay, now we're going to add in, you know, that she needs to do this. So I'm going to say her name, and if she looks at me, she's going to get a click and a treat. If she doesn't look at me, I'm not going to repeat the name because I don't want her to think her name is Money Penny, Money Penny, Money Penny. It's one time. If she doesn't turn her head, I will make a happy noise to get her attention. So I'm just going to toss a treat for her to go eat. Money Penny. And you see the moment that head turn happens, that's just a reset. Money Penny. That's what we're looking for, is that little head turn. Money Penny. Now let's say the dog's just looking at you like this. Money Penny. This is still working. Money Penny. She's still hearing the cue and doing the behavior. Even though she didn't turn her head, as long as she's, Money Penny, looking at me when I say this, that works. It's totally fine. Money Penny. I do like them to get a little distracted sometimes. Money Penny. Good girl. Now, if you train this well, Money Penny, it'll become a part of your recall. And what I mean by that is when you train name recognition really well, the dog will start coming to you before you even say their name. Okay, the next thing we're going to work on is your default behavior, which is the behavior you want the dog to offer when they don't know what else to do. So traditionally, that's a sit, but this is a show dog, so maybe I want her default behavior to be a stand. So I'm just going to start working on clicking her for standing. Now this puppy is learning the cue stand. But when I'm handing out dog treats and the other dogs who are not show dogs are sitting, stand, then I'm going to expect her to offer a stand because I want a stand to be my show dog's stand, default behavior. Now, the reason is because, stand, the reason is because for many people, I don't find this to be an issue. I train all the behaviors, but if the dog doesn't know what to do, they're going to offer the default behavior or the behavior that's the oldest and has the strongest reinforcement history. Stand. Sit. Stand. Okay. So it could be stand or sit. So if you want it to be stand, if the dog's in a sit, you're just going to lure them into a stand with food and click and treat. If they're standing on their own, like just standing there, you can just start reinforcing standing there. Stand. Stand. See how she's a little unsure? You can tell that she knows sit better than stand. Like, I'll test it. I'm going to give her a hand signal if it doesn't work. Stand. Oh. Sit. Stand. See how she still needs help with that? But, you know, if you have a dog who you're not going to show, stand. Good. That's what I need to do more of. Stand is just saying the word stand while she's doing it. Stand. Go ahead. Choice. Stand. Okay, I'm going to not play that and see if she does the right one. It's okay. She's just working it out. See that? People get frustrated like they need to repeat it. Stand. But let the dog do some problem solving. I mean, this is how they learn. Stand. stand. Now, if I have my hand out like that, that kind of becomes a cue. Stand. Good job. All right, so your homework, stand. Your homework is starting basically all that stuff on there. Socializing safely, socializing. Do you know what? This is going to be a good thing for dogs, this social distance thing. Dogs do not need, stand, a million people to be running up and touching them. They don't need to think, stand. Oh. Thank you. Do you see her trying everything in the book? All her behaviors in the book. Okay. All right, so you're going to be working on sit or stand, or both if you want, in separate little training sessions. You're going to be working on name recognition. Look, she went over there, so I'm going to do it real quick right now and see what happens. Money Penny. Good girl. And that's what I want. See that, how quickly she ran over? If she goes back over there and starts messing around on that pad again, I'll do that again. But that's what we want. I want the dog to hear their name and immediately turn and come back to me. So now she got a treat. So now she's like kind of interested in me. Okay, there she goes. Hold on. Just wait for her to wander. Oh, Betty is so angry in there. All right, so before we end this, and while we wait and see if Money Penny will do another one of those little go over to the mat and sniff around, you guys have any questions? We'll be doing more of these. Money Penny! Good job. Good girl. And I just like having the yoga mat out because I think it gives us a nice little area to, you know, train in. And if you're doing some things like down or something, the dogs might be more comfortable. Like the smooth dachshunds, they don't like laying down on hard floors. So a yoga mat can be really helpful for that. Yes, Dina, you absolutely can go back, you guys, to working some of this stuff with your adult dogs too. I just did a conditioning class last night, or yesterday, which I'm going to redo as a recorded video. So over the next week, I'll be filming that here. Oh, there she goes again. I'm going to try another one. Now she's learned the behavior. If she goes and sniffs on the mat, something will happen. Money Penny, good job. Oh, and I ran out of treats. I have to go get her a treat now. Oops, sorry, baby. So if I click like that and I'm out of treats, it doesn't mean she's just out of luck. It means I got to go get her a treat because I made that promise to her. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, you can message me here, comment here. Pretty soon we'll do another one. This is puppy class 1. And just sort of, as I think about it and as people need it, she keeps going over there now to the bat and sniffing around because she knows I'll call her. But this is fun. This is easy stuff we can do inside. Don't worry about your puppies. It's not going to be as bad as people are worried about. What's going to be bad is if you never leave those puppies alone. Get those puppies used to someone not being there. Oh, look, here's a wire on the floor. Look at that. This is obviously what Money Penny was doing earlier. Right now, I think one of the most important things is that you get those dogs used to being home alone, or at least spending time alone. If you plan on taking your dogs out in the car, your puppies, and you know you're not going anywhere, go put them in the car. Put the crate in the car, put the puppy in the car, sit there and listen to a couple songs and let them chew on something while they're in there. Please, let's make sure we get them used to things that maybe you wouldn't be because of what's going on. They need to get used to being in the car. They need to get used to being alone. They need to get used to, you know, seeing people as you're out walking around. So that's your homework. And I hope you guys like this, and we'll do another one real soon. And feel free to post on here how your puppies are doing and anything else I can help you with. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like Show Dog Prep School on Facebook and follow us. And also, you guys, don't forget that me and Andrea on Friday morning are going to be doing more talk on socialization and raising puppies during the shelter in place. So thanks for watching. Bye.